It is good to see still a lot of people sitting through the final session. I welcome you all to this final discussion. Before we take questions from the house, I would like to ask few questions to my fellow speakers and, of course, from INFI. Uh, we have seen that the efforts of the corporates has been just focused in one area, either it is education or healthcare, etc. But how do corporates evaluate whether the funds which they have earmarked and given out, whether it is effectively utilized, and is there any mechanism you have put in place, and what is that your approach to CSR is all about?
Sure. I think, can you hear me? It was Vallabh Bansali who said recently, I know somebody here said some CFO wants to give a check to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund, right? He talked about the inflection point of CSR being this 2% mandated or recommended limit that the government has come out with. His point was, see, we know how corporates run their business, right? It's all based on numbers, metrics, and profitability and stuff like that. And he said, if this and we know how they run their CSR programs as well, right? If you look at how Premji does his grants and how he measures, it's always about what am I getting for each penny that I'm spending, right? The same way how you measure your ROI in your business. Similarly, if you look at how Bill Gates runs his foundation, right? It's based on, he runs it like a business, right? He pays top dollars for his employees in the foundation, and he expects corporate kind of results. So the way Vallabh Bansali was looking at this was, so what you are getting is not just this 2% of profits. What you are getting is 2% of that organization's strength in creating an impact in whatever area they choose to get involved in, be it education, be it health. I think we are looking at things like that Samarpan, right, which is visually challenged children. How do you take care of them? And we used to get them to our corporate events also to come and perform and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, it is not just going to be the money that they spend. They are going to look at the returns, how they look at their ROIs in their business. That's it. So the goal can be, how much does it, if you take education, for example, right? How many children am I educating? What is the cost of that education per child? Am I bringing it down? And I think that is where social enterprises can, come in and make a big difference. For example, Umesh couldn't be here. He's running the Hippocampus, learning centers in rural India, where the idea is give, I wouldn't say world-class education, right? The best-in-class education in pre-KG and after school at the lowest possible price points, right? And there is no compromise in the quality of education that is going to be provided, but can I provide it in the lowest possible point? Possible price point, right? So that is where I would say social enterprises can create a big difference, because companies are going to look at the CSR spend, the ROI from the CSR spend, just as they look at the returns from their business investments. So here is an opportunity to make the difference.
During my presentation, I was just talking about the approach which corporates have adopted till now, which is basically focused in one area and it is scattered. You don't see the impact which really needs to be there, because the migration to cities have been happening because we are not able to create alternative ecosystem where people can live in villages, see that their living standards improve. They need not migrate to cities. At the same time, the cities are getting overburdened. Now, this holistic approach, fortunately, the new law says that a corporate need not do everything on its own, and they can join hands. There is a consortium approach which is permitted under law. Now, if I say that, we are having a drawing board to create ecosystem wherein we would like to bring in sanitation in the village. We would like to bring in waste collection, convert that into compost, then various other activities, your energy, the generation at the local levels, etc. How do you think your corporates would look at this kind of holistic approach? Do we get the kind of support what we are looking at? Because the whole ecosystem would definitely cost few crores. Now, what is your take on such
I agree with you,
approaches?
I agree with you. I think today you are right. Today the way they look at it is it may be the pet project of the foundation's head, right? Whoever is running the foundation from the or the CSR activity from that corporate. I think we will get there, right? What you're looking at as a holistic impact in a region that we operate in, because yeah, many of them still look at it tactically, right? For example, if they want to donate computers to the schools, what they would do is they will give it to the schools where their employees' children may get admission or whatever, right? So it is tactical. But I think the other question on migration to the cities and stuff like that, right? For example, some of the MNCs here, right, who may be going into the rural areas for sourcing, right? Be it Tesco, be it Target or any of them, right? If they are going to look at the rural India for sourcing for commodities or whatever, they do want to give it back to those areas, right? So for example, one of them did look at setting up a call center or a BPO center in the villages, right, from where they are likely to source. So they didn't want to just exploit that place and not create enough value or whatever. But yeah, the overall impact that you're looking at, right, which is the right way to look at the development model, they may be ready to do it in the regions that they operate in, but today it may be discrete projects. It's going to take a little bit of what do you call it, evangelizing with them to make sure they look at it more holistically rather than these discrete projects that happen today.
Exactly. Now, I'm sure morning session we had a lot of presentations from social entrepreneurs. They were worried, where are the funds coming from? Our friend here clearly says that yes, we are going to support such activities. That's a great thing. Coming to JSW, I'm very happy that you have created rural BPO. So obviously, the saying, the Chinese saying, don't, feed fish, you teach a person how to fish. I think that's a great, idea of what you have taken forward. Now, what are the other areas you're looking at apart from this BPO kind of operation?
BPO happens to be one of our projects. It's one of our flagship projects because this project has the highest impact because this creates mass scale employment. If you open up a tailoring unit, that can also give a lot of employment. But what the difference that we have seen, we also have a tailoring unit. But this is why this rural BPO is successful, because this is directly linked to the dignity of women. The women feel that they're part of the IT workforce. They feel they're part of the BPO community. So there's a lot of self-dignity that's happening. So to answer your question, what other projects, JSW Foundation is one of the leading foundations in India, which spends a lot on education. We run a lot of mini universities, vocational courses, schools in all across India. And just to go back to your first question, how do you monitor the activities happening? So the approach of a CSR from or the way CSR is looked from a technology company versus a manufacturing company is, manufacturing company cannot survive without CSR. They have to give back to the society. Because what happens is, let's say you're looking at a steel plant, you go, let's say Bellary, you go to Bellary, you acquire that land, you have like millions of land losers, you have to give back, irrespective of you have a law or not. So just to go back, somebody's mentioned Tatas have been spending 4% for hundreds of years. Same way JSW has been spending it. They don't care there's a law or not. We have to give back to society. Otherwise, any manufacturing unit, if you look at all this unrest that is happening across India, Vedanta has been kicked out, POSCO has not been allowed. You see Jindal's, a lot of steel plants getting closed, Tata's not allowed. This is somewhere linked to, are you giving back to the community or not? How do they perceive you? So the best way to audit is your self-audit. Because that is your money that is going into, so why wouldn't you spend it? You would spend it. So going back to your question as to what other areas we are spending on, there's livelihood programs, there's women empowerment, there's healthcare, there's malnutrition programs, and the biggest would be obviously education.
My friend, young friend, is it event management? Yeah, I think morning again we were seeing that social entrepreneurs were telling, where is money for my marketing? I think our event manager would be a brand builder for such social enterprises. He has already offered that if you are organizing any events, I'm going to be there to support you. Anything else you want to share on this?
I can say yes, if there anything is there where the society can rise, the people can rise, there, I can personally can give it back to the society. I'm not as big as Jindal and as big as my friend's company, but yes, as my personal, as a human, my responsibility, if I can give it back, I love to do that with honor, with pleasure.
That's great to hear.
Yes,
I will
sir.
now throw open
Good
questions
evening.
to the audience.
Good evening, sir. I've got, Srinivas Murthy, I've got two questions for you, if it's not uncomfortable. The question is, first of all, in your presentation at the beginning, the slides were heavily loaded with items of corporate governance. Yes, am I right or not, sir?
Yeah, because we are legal people, so we always bring in that legal aspect.
The question is, I was wondering that we are dealing with the subject of CSR, that how heavy dose of corporate governance coming into that? Do you mean to say they are synonymous or one is very heavily linked with the other? What is the idea actually?
Yeah, corporate governance is very relevant. The reason is we have seen number of CSR initiative happening in the corporates to help their own people. You know, if the initiatives shown to be CSR activities, but it is helping their own kith and kin. Do you call that a CSR activity? No, you need good corporate governance systems and measure to see that such camouflage activity doesn't take place.
But
That's
after
the
all,
reason why corporate governance is relevant. In fact, the legislation also now has mandated that the CSR committee should have an independent director who is not connected with the management.
well, after all, charity begins at home, so it makes even sense. Am I right?
That's fine, but if you think that everybody is responsible, there is no need for your street, traffic signals. The moment the traffic signals are off, you have seen what happens.
seen
The roads get totally, blocked. The
moreover,
traffic gets chaos. So you need some mechanism whereby you can regulate and
Checks
see
and
that
balances.
things work.
Moreover,
properly.
another issue, sir,
Minor.
CSR also makes a lot of business sense because as far as I know from my accounting knowledge, but the CSR spend is exempted from tax, am I right?
I believe that any enterprise should make profit. If the enterprise doesn't make profit, then obviously it will die. There is absolutely no doubt about it. It is only a question of making how much profit. That's more relevant according to me. And I'm always fond of saying that everybody wants growth, but nobody wants cancer, right? But we are all chasing cancer, unfortunately. We want growth, no doubt about it. So profit is an element. It's only one of the elements. You need to bring in all other elements in place to see that your CSR really works well.
And another question to Mr. Kapoor. आपका नाम कापूर ही है ना?
Yes, sir, Sanjeev Kapoor.
हाँ जी. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you support all kinds of events? Do you manage, जैसे कि आपने technical वाली बात हो गई यहाँ पे, like that, what kind of event you are going to support?
I'm a corporate event specialist, sir.
अच्छा.
So you can say what I don't do is birthday party and personal parties.
अच्छा. So only for corporate events,
Only for corporates.
not for family events.
No, sir. Money is lying with the corporates only. If they can afford me, I don't mind.
Hi, good evening to everybody. Sir, had a question. So, when we say that social enterprises have such a huge opportunity now to expand or contribute meaningfully to the society, I'm trying to understand how do corporates qualify a particular enterprise as a social enterprise, to which they can attribute their CSR spending. For example, me and a couple of our friends are running a small firm which concentrates on education, where we sell some kind of a software platform to schools, which helps them to train their teachers. Now, we are also equally interested to see how we can take this across to rural schools or, say, villages. Now, we are trying to understand how we can use this. How do you see us if you can attribute us as an enterprise as a social enterprise to which we can see how we can work it out? Because there are obviously inhibitants when you have to take it to a village or a school, how much they can afford. Is there some model we can work out where the benefit is mutually shared by everybody? And can this platform be used for us or to classify ourselves as a social enterprise?
Okay. So let me try and answer it. Many of you can jump in if you want. I think there are different models, right? One is what I would suggest is you partner with people who are already selling to those schools.
Okay.
Right? It may be content, it may be curriculum, whatever, right? Some of these social enterprises also try and manage some of the schools, right? Or they are selling some content to some of these schools, right? So one would be to partner with some of them. If you're looking at the corporate CSR angle, right, what I would suggest is many of them would have adopted some school or the other.
Okay.
Or their employees would be working with some of the schools or the other, right?
Okay.
If you want to take that route, then you'll have to figure out those corporates which are working on education, right? And then you'll have to approach those CSR folks there and figure out a way to tag along with them to those schools. What you need is reach, right? So which is the most efficient way to reach those corporates. So you'll have to figure out those, probably mine the publicly available information in terms of data on which corporates are focused on education.
Okay.
And then take that route, identify those CSR folks in those organizations, and then take that.
Okay.
But the more efficient way would be to go to those organizations or either social enterprises or even for-profit, regular business enterprises, which are focused on selling to schools, and partner with them.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you my card. Please get in touch with us. We are looking for these kind of softwares.
Wow.
So I'll tell you, I'm not sure if you're aware, a lot of large foundations, they're companies by themselves. Like for example, we have a budget of approximately 300 crores. That's a company by itself, right? So we cannot do without partners. All our projects, all our implementations are via partners. So what happens is it becomes imperative. So just like the way a company would do procurement, they will invite a company, be impaneled with them, and they will evaluate that company, good or not, then they'll give you a contract. It's the same process here. So we keep looking for partners, we keep looking for NGOs who can bring in something new in different areas of interventions. So education, like I said, is one of our biggest interventions. We keep looking for partners, we keep looking for startups. In fact, glad to report that JSW Foundation has an incubator cell which takes ideas on agriculture, on education, on solar power and all that, and we give them grant or funds to nurture them and allow them to spin off on their own. So please stay in touch with us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. I think this is more on CSR, and I'll have to plead my ignorance if I'm asking the wrong question, but usually CSR activities of any large organization is in the direction of their line of business. And like one of our panelists here said that they do look at CSR as their ROI thing. So we had somebody speak in the morning that, whom can I fund? A young 21-year-old girl or a 60-year-old woman. So what about the 60-year-old women? And, if CSR for corporates is an ROI and it's in the same line of business, like probably, like I think one of the other speakers said that they're trying to tie up with DHL, and DHL will, kind of ship it for free. And can that actually be counted for CSR? Because it's just I think you can agree, it's just a sheet here and a there that they can show, So what it actually, I'm sorry to touch upon a larger subject in this question, but I think we really, I at least want an answer for this.
What's your question?
Yeah, thank you. I know I needed to explain this, but the line of business that they are in is CSR. Can the CSR activities in the same line of business can be actually counted as a CSR activity?
I think I would like to just answer this. Yes, it's a very valid point, because we have seen that large corporates, for their own benefit many times, they set up facilities where they impart skill, development programs, conduct skill development programs so that the employee requirements in that area will be a catchment area. Now, that kind of activity is not really CSR. What I would like to look at is a development of a particular village or town where it should be self-sustaining. Now, that is the model, what I would like to call it as CSR. Otherwise, I don't think it is really a CSR activity per se. It may be a donation charity for some activity, that's all. But objective is to see that the lives of standard of living of people across the country should rise. That is possible only to help them build their skills and operate within their surroundings. And that can spread across. I think that is what is really the CSR is all about, according to me.
Just to give you an example, coming back to the JSW group, we have an IT company, we have a steel company, right? So steel company wants to do CSR and let's say they want to establish a huge training institute. They cannot give the computers order to the IT company. So it means taking the money from the left pocket and putting it in the right pocket. So that is actually not CSR. So he's perfectly right. So the money cannot rotate within your company. It cannot be to an activity which is funding your own somewhere, directly or indirectly to your own company. It has to go directly to the beneficiaries, which is your community. I don't know if it answers your question.
I have a question for the panel. This is Chinmay. My question is, what does it take for corporates and social enterprise to really come together? My study indicates that still now there are hardly any examples of both of these entities partnering, although theoretically they seem to be beautifully aligned.
Okay, I think one is, I think somebody had come up with that CSR Next platform or whatever, right? So platforms like that, are what I would call the marketplace for the corporates and the potential match in terms of their area of focus, which social enterprise probably makes the best fit or whatever, right? So that's probably one start, I would say, right? I think there's probably an opportunity right there for another social enterprise to come in and say, like, here is what. So this was probably a Facebook kind of user group that you was talking about, but maybe there is one more level we can get into in terms of what exactly is the kind of organizations these corporates are looking for, and what are those enterprises which may fit this, like an eBay kind of, and that may be a oversimplification of that need, but I'm saying maybe the answer is somewhere in between. So, but otherwise today we just have to figure out a way to mine the publicly available data in terms of their focus, and figure out which corporates make the best fit or whatever. So
essentially, I think what you're saying is it's just a lack of connect.
Yeah, and see, the one is connect. The second one is the trust also, right? Like one of the reasons corporates want to cut a check for the PM's relief fund is they don't know whether they can trust that NGO or not, or that may happen with the social enterprise as well, right? Like LinkedIn or whatever, right, or Quora, where they talk about, okay, this NGO I've had great experience, or this social enterprise I've had great experience. So they know that's. But at the end of the day, you are running a business, right? So you'll have to do it the way you would, sell any normal, service or a product or whatever. So
just to add, before this law, I mean, there's a lot of, self-driven CSR happening. There was no audit, or there was no governing. Correct me if I'm wrong. So after this law, everybody's pushed to do CSR, to make it public, to make declarations. So they cannot do it alone. I can tell you, like I said, our foundation keeps on looking for social enterprises who can partner in different areas of intervention. I'm aware of so many other technology companies, like for example, I'm a member of NASCOM Foundation. I know so many of my counterparts, they keep looking for such social enterprises who can come and partner with us. So maybe that kind of a platform that he was talking about, that is not existing today, where the corporates can talk to social enterprises and vice versa. So that platform needs to get developed. Now what's happening is all maybe word of mouth, or what we come to know in the media, then we reach out to some social enterprises, but that platform is not available to interact.
I think entirely so is providing that platform, and I think you can engage with us and continue this journey. And I
In
think
fact, I wanted to add that this entirely so initiative, the conclave, the people who have assembled here, they're all very serious. I mean, you need not search anywhere. You get people here. All that you need to do is
Absolutely.
involve them. That is what I see going forward. I think conclaves like this probably will take it to next level.
Just one more quick point is that I think before this discussion, I'm not sure if you are there, but we are also running a business plan contest for specifically for social enterprises. And as Karmesh has put that we are also running an incubation center, we might also want to explore an opportunity where you might want to at least look at those ideas and see if it fits with your agenda.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Anirudh. I have a question which is more academic in nature. It's often said that companies imitate countries, or countries imitate individuals. I mean, in a broader context. So, is there a kind of pattern which you see between countries or cultures? Like, say, for example, would Indian companies embrace CSR more readily than, say, some other culture? Is there a cultural context to the whole idea of CSR?
Okay, so I think in the West, right, this whole volunteering is part of their, DNA, I would say, right? If you look at many of the, for example, the American corporates, right, the employees going and building somebody's house over a weekend, right? That's like a mainstream activity, right? And as volunteering time or whatever, right? You're probably seeing that now. For example, Infosys announced a sabbatical program where they'll pay the person's salary if they're going to go and work with a recognized NGO that they empaneled or whatever for an year or whatever, right? They were ready to give that time off or whatever. So I think that is coming here. See, the other thing is what is the social responsibility, right? In the West, it's what do you call the nuclear families, right? Indian context, you support your extended family also, right? So so that there is a different connotation of what you consider as social responsibility versus depending on the cultures as well. So yes, West is definitely more mature in that, as mainstream activity, social responsibility being a mainstream activity. Probably here it is, taking off now. So
I think fantastic question. Rightly mentioned, West, they are givers. If you look at the leading economies, they all come from the West. Japan, Switzerland, US, UK, they give to countries, they give to society. Indians, third world nations, all takers. We've been receiving all this while. So now that this industrialization has happened and we are on the path of progress, so we are yet to assimilate and adopt that culture of giving. So that's why this law was required, that you force somebody to give. So I think fantastic question.
My name is Saurabh. I would like to ask my first question of the day as an audience. So we have been hearing the terms management consultant, business consultant, financial consultant, HR consultant, and there are firms also. But there are no as a CSR consultant, or very rare. So how do you see that shaping up in the future, and how can a person can have career into that field?
Yeah, I mean, to be a consultant here in this space, I think you need to have a broad bandwidth, because you're not only just implementing certain things, you need to see that you comply with law, you need to comply with your various audits and reporting systems, then the assessment of the implementing agencies, whether they are doing the right things. So obviously, the background matters here. And it is a pool. It is a pool. It has to be a group of people, like-minded people joining hands from various disciplines so that you can implement it effectively. That is what is required here.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you everyone for this participation, and we'll just have a closing address. sorry, and we'll have Lieutenant Colonel Ashok will present you with a token of appreciation for sharing your time with us.
Thank you, sir. I want all of you a couple of minutes out here. Okay. One request to all of you, if you can come over, we'll have a group photograph of all of you together.